In most countries, people are born to forests, but here in this country, if you see a forest, it was planted by somebody, Moshe Rivlin. In December of 1901, Zionists from all around the world convened in Basel, Switzerland at the Fifth Zionist Congress. These individuals were the strongest supporters of founding a Jewish homeland and had been working for 4 years to establish a fund to buy back land in the Ottoman Empire-controlled Palestine. As the Congress drew to a close, it seemed that the dream of establishing a Jewish homeland would never become a reality. But finally, Theodor Herzl, the leading Zionist, threw his support behind the cause, proclaiming,
"After striving for so many years to set up the fund, we do not want to disperse again without having done anything."
Finally, on December 29, 1901, the Jewish National Fund was founded.
The body of Theodor Herzl, the father of modern Zionism.
When Theodor Herzl died in July of 1904, the Jewish National Fund, or JNF, knew it wanted to honor his legacy. The JNF bought land in Huldah, a region in central Israel, and planted olive trees in memory of Herzl. These were the first seeds of afforestation. Afforestation is the process of planting trees in a barren landscape lacking few pre-existing trees. Before the JNF stepped in, Palestine was a region that was dry, lifeless, and suffered from excessive drought. The land was empty and looked as if it was awaiting a redeemer. When Israel was founded as an independent state on May 14, 1948, the JNF encountered an identity crisis. Since the organization's founding, its main goal had been to purchase land in Palestine, and afforestation had been a minor concern. However, now that Israel had been established, purchasing land for Jewish settlement was no longer necessary. As it searched for its new focus, afforestation came into light and soon became the JNF's main priority. Joseph Weitz, the head of the JNF Forestry Department when Israel was established, had no trouble adapting to the JNF's new role in Israeli society. For the first time, Weitz's ambitions for Israel's forests benefited from significant political support. David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, was a zealous supporter of afforestation. He came to Weitz after Israel's establishment and encouraged the JNF to plant 1 billion trees over the next decade. Weitz, who would later be known as the father of the forests, thought Ben-Gurion was overambitious but responded to the prime minister's commands nonetheless. The JNF divided its forestry operations into 4 major regions, the southern, central, midland, and northern, and set out to fulfill Ben-Gurion's wish. Despite the efforts of these early Israeli leaders, it would take much more to successfully achieve wide-scale afforestation. Israelis have been consistently forced to develop innovative solutions to maximize a limited water supply, keep trees healthy, and combat the spread of desert or desertification. One such technique is using loven, a white pigment, to whitewash trees, which protects them from a condition known as sunscald. Sunscald entails the overheating of a tree's bark, which causes blistering and peeling. In 1964, Israeli scientists developed loven, which has proven to be the most effective form of whitewash because it reflects direct sunlight and radiation off the trees. Perhaps the most limiting element of Israel's environment is the lack of water supplies. In 1966, Israel disposed of over 100 million cubic meters of sewage water, which when dumped into the Mediterranean Sea results in serious pollution of the seawater. When dumped into shifting sands in the coastal region of Israel, however, the sewage water is absorbed quickly and the sand becomes fertile. Sewage water contains nutrients necessary for plant growth, including a large amount of organic matter, and has been proven to be more effective than fresh water treated with fertilizer in helping trees grow. Capturing and using every drop of runoff water has kept trees hydrated under a tight water supply. Natural shrub patches, made up of one or a cluster of shrub species, intercept the flow of runoff water and allow it to infiltrate the land, creating a nutrient-rich oasis in which trees can grow. Over time, most of Israel's natural shrub patches have deteriorated due to negative human impact on the land, causing the runoff of necessary water. The JNF developed 3 types of human-made shrub patches, known as sinks, all designed to ensure the sustainability of Israel's ecosystems. Sustainability entails the prevention of leaks and the ability to withstand high amounts of runoff water.
Through these techniques, Israel and the JNF have reached remarkable heights in afforestation. Nir Atzmon of the Israeli Agricultural Research Organization believes the secret to Israel's accomplishments lies in the fact that there was no alternative. Dr. Zika Avni, the former head of forestry for the JNF, agrees with Atzmon.
We have problems, we have failures, but you see, we do in many places and many times. So at last we succeed.
The JNF had to keep working in afforestation, encountering issues and mastering strategies along the way, until at last it prevailed. In this manner, the JNF has planted over 240 million trees. The JNF has established national parks and recreational grounds for the citizens of Israel. After the Holocaust, the JNF planted a martyrs' forest in the Jerusalem hills to commemorate those who perished. In April of 1952, on the first Holocaust Remembrance Day, people from all walks of life gathered at the forest to draw consolation from the newly planted trees. The JNF has also created over 1,000 purely recreational parks, which were found to be more pleasing when covered with trees rather than natural desert shrubs. The afforestation movement has also provided jobs for the Israeli people. When Israel became an independent country in 1948, thousands of immigrants streamed in looking for work, which they found through the JNF. In 1965, when Israel entered an economic slump, the JNF employed between 5,000 and 6,000 people daily in afforestation-related jobs, such as nursery work, planting, and pruning.
The impact of the JNF's afforestation movement extends far beyond Israel's borders. Halfway around the world, in Maryland, the JNF provided the model for Maryland's own afforestation program, Tremendous. The Maryland Department of Natural Resources developed Tremendous to largely resemble the JNF, in that it encourages the public to plant trees for the same reason. Your gift of trees is actually 3 gifts: one to someone you care for, one to future generations, and one to the environment.
Planting trees here with these students gave them the opportunity to plant trees at their school in their community. We worked with 27 students planting all native trees.
Tremendous makes trees native to Maryland, including the dogwood, white oak, and the willow oak, available to the public to be planted on public ground such as parks, school grounds, and government facilities. The impact of Israel's afforestation is felt all around the world.
Well, JNF, and not just JNF, but also Israel, has always looked to share what they do. Okay? The technology that Israel has developed as far as afforestation, they've shared it with many countries.
In 2006, representatives from over 30 countries gathered in Israel for the United Nations Convention to combat desertification to take advantage of Israel's leadership in desertification and afforestation. In Beijing, China, in 2008, Chinese leaders held a Beijing conference on combating desertification to share strategies and gain advice from the Israelis. At the conference, Israeli Ambassador Daniel Carmon stated that Israel is proud to lead the international community's efforts in afforestation. Even though the JNF has had an incredible impact, it has also faced much criticism. Ever since Joseph Whites first introduced the pine tree, it was the favored species of JNF foresters. Although the pine was not native to the Middle East, it dominated Israel's forests for much of the 20th century because it was easy to grow and resistant to most insects. Recently, environmentalists have discovered that the JNF made a mistake in favoring the pine because it was a disruption to Israel's natural ecosystem. Not only were pines foreign to Israeli soil, but they were planted in man-made rows, thus resembling pine deserts. Today, the JNF has started planting native species in its efforts to create sustainable Israeli forests.
Whether one believes the JNF handled afforestation right or wrong, it is unanimous that afforestation changed the face of Israel. As of now, the JNF has planted over 240 million trees and will continue working to meet and even exceed Ben-Gurion's dream of 1 billion trees. In fact, Israel was the only country to enter the 21st century with a net gain in trees over the past century, purely deserving of its status as the world leader in afforestation. Israel is a small country facing large obstacles, but it has proved to the world that it is capable of achieving a feat to which no other nation can lay claim. The JNF has made the desert bloom.